Say today things, then we'll try to explain Sales Cloud. Have other types of clouds also: sales, service, marketing cloud, commerce cloud, community cloud. So different types of clouds we have. Okay, and how to do that? Let's see. First thing, what is a duplicate rule? So usually, if you want to validate something, then you can write validation rules, right? We used to write a validation rule like, so the pick list value should not be like this, sport should not be like this. You have already created some validation rules, right? But if I want to eliminate, let's say while creating uh, an account or contact or lead, whatever it is, okay, so, or let's say university, if you are trying to create the university with same name and same department something, then I should throw the validation. Means the record is already exist. Let's say if I'm creating SK University with odds and status is true, then I need to throw the validation like the record is already exist. Then there is a bit difference between validation rule and duplicate rule. Validation rule will validate the data in the same record. It won't check for the existing records from the database. But duplicate rule means if the record is already exist with certain criteria, then it will throw the error. Like the record is already exist means it is checking with existing data. But validation rule will always check with the same record data and the values of that record. That's it. Okay. But the valid duplicate rule will always check with existing data. Okay, let's say if I need to have the duplicate rule, like if I have the same university and status is true, then I cannot create this record. That is my requirement. Then what you need to do is go to the duplicate rule. Make sure that you understand the validation rule and this duplicate rule. When you will go for validation rule, if you want to validate something in the same record while creating a record or updating a record, if you want to check the different values of the fields, then you can go for the validation rule. But if you want to check for the existing records, if the record is already exist with this, some certain criteria, then you should go for the duplicate rule. Okay, how to create duplicate rule? So in the duplicate rule you have two things. One is duplicate rule and another one is matching rule. Okay, what is a matching rule? Matching rule is nothing but the criteria. So however you have the validation rule, criteria will be there, right? So the conditions, the same way you will be having matching rule and duplicate rule. Let me write a duplicate rule. Here, on account and lead contact, the standard duplicate rules are already exist, okay, by default. Now let's create on. So here I'll say that same just name I have given. Bypassing sharing rules, enforcing sharing rules. What is enforce sharing rule? Enforce sharing rule means you know that sharing rule will run when a record is created or updated, and that will be shared to the specific users, groups or roles and subordinates, right? Based on the owner or based on the criteria. So if you select bypass sharing rule, that means when a record is created and duplicate rule exists, then sharing rules will not execute. That won't be filed. Okay, here allow or block, there will be two things, allow or block. So allow means there will be some message but you will be able to create the duplicate record. But let's see, let me give allow. alert. Okay, university is already exist. Once you give this, then you have to create matching rule. And then if you want to have to run this duplicate rule for only specified profiles or something, then you can give the criteria here. For the university owner record type only for that, then you can give the criteria. This is just duplicate rule criteria. Means when the duplicate rule should run. The matching rule means to check the to check with the existing records what is the criteria. That's called matching rule. This is the conditions. This is the matching rule. Save duplicate rule. Here, this is duplicate matching rule is if university name is exact and department is exact, means if both are exact match with the existing record. Let's say university name is SK University, department is arts, if the record is already exists. And if you are trying to create another record with SK University and department is arts, then you have to validate the record. So that is the matching criteria. Activate it. Until unless you activate it, it won't work. Okay, this is activated. Then go to the duplicate rules again. Now you have to activate this duplicate rule. So you will see this whether the matching rule is activated and selected or not. Okay, activate this. Okay, now it is activated. Go to any university. Have the same, clone it. University and trying to practice. See this. It shows the right. What is the error message? University is already exists with the same name. And if you want to save the record, here you have save. Ignore alert means whatever the error it is there, you can say that ignore. Okay, why? Because here you are saying that allow. Here what you are saying, allow means you can just report and show the duplicate record, but it allow it. You are saying that, but here if you try to block it, save it. Now here cancel, clone it, try to save. Now, as there is no option for ignore, if you try to save, then automatically error will throw. There is no ignore because you are blocking. There are two options. But for the duplicate rules, there are some limitations that if you are using 100 records at a time to be inserted, if you are using data loader or import widget, or if you are using some third-party API tools, then there is no chance that the duplicate rules may be affected, may not be affected, means that won't work. Okay, for third-party APIs that will not work. For only the records, whatever it is getting created through the user interface, then we can find the duplicate rules. And if someone is trying to create one record from any Apex or something, there is no issue. Okay, the duplicate rule will be fine. But if you are trying to use third-party APIs, then the duplicate rules will not work sometime. Okay, so that is the single limitation on this. That's about duplicate rule. So why I'm explaining this, there might be a question to you. If the record is already exists with the specific criteria, I need to throw the validation. If someone will ask you, then you will be thinking, so error message means someone will go for the validation. Okay, you'll just, your mind will think validation, but it won't work. Right? So that's why this is explained. Then flows. Okay, we have the process builder. From process builder you can call the flow. right? Let's see what is a flow first. Okay, so usually when you see any surveys, right? Even in YouTube or in some websites, you might have some surveys like enter this value, so give your opinion, some kind of things, and the flows is automatically executed through the process builder. From process builder, we can execute the flows automatically. Then we can call the flows, or we can use the flows through the Visual Force also. Okay, so let's try first how the flow can be created. Those are called flows. Okay, here new flow, flows, and then just click new flow. This is simply, there are different kind of flows. Auto launch flow, okay, screen flows, user provisioning, contact request flow. So we just try to use screen flow. There are some updates on this. Okay, starting. Let's say if I want to have some screen here, okay, in the screen, let's say the table name is, so here next or finish, previous, pause buttons can we have. If you want to some message, means you have used the mail merge, right? I mean email templates. So there you can use merge fields. The same way here also you can use that. Means start here and execute this. Now let's say here you can add the fields. Let's say simply if you want to have your email ID, you can add here and you can give this. Let me give very simple application. Delete this. Then so here once this is done, you can have decisions. Here the application is you are giving name, then you are giving name age, right? So this is very simple application that whether you are eligible for vote or not. Just simple program kind of thing. Okay. So decision. So if there is a condition, if condition, right? There is maybe one or two outcomes. Let's say usually two outcomes will be there. Two outcomes means if there is a condition, condition may be true or condition may be false, right? So here the new outcome, what I'm saying is the condition is age is greater than or equals to. Here what you need to do is we need to create new resource. Okay, that's like it's a variable, resource type variable. Here data type number and the value, default value is 18. Available for input, available for output. Means this screen can get the value from other screen, and it will give the same value can be given to other screen also. That's all. Don't worry about this. Now here what we are trying to age limit greater than or equals to grade or this one. So the limit we have given 18, and this is one condition, and another outcome is also there. So that is default outcome. Okay, let's save this. Now once the screen is done, then this is the flow. Means first start, open the screen and check the decision, and there are two outcomes. Okay, now let's have a screen or screen message. Label is like eligible. Here simple, just give some message, display message, display text. Okay, here what is the message you are going to display? Success. Here the name whatever you have entered, name is eligible for out. Then here your age is, what you can do is age. That's it. And this is on screen. Here name, let's try this next. Hi, you are eligible for vote. Okay, once you finish it, then again it will come back, it will ask for other thing. Let's say you have given this very simple kind of flow. Okay, so you can prepare screen to screen what has to be done and what is the decision and that is kind of. Okay, so what else you can do through the flows? Okay, through the flows you have lot of other concepts like series assignments, decision. That's fine, you can create a record, update a record, then you can get the records, delete the records. Means read, create, edit, delete. all these operations can be done. Okay, let's create a small flow. Let's um, count. Okay, if I create a field called, so our requirement is we can have a field called delete contacts field, that's a checkbox on account. So whenever the checkbox is true, then we need to delete the contacts automatically. Okay, through the process builder we cannot delete the records, right? In those cases what you can do is you can directly delete the records directly from process builder and using flows. Okay, let's see that a small example for you guys. Okay, checkbox is mostly no one will ask you in interviews, and there will be no much use in the flows in even your projects also. Now, first thing here, what you need to do is delete the records. Okay, stored variable. First assignment. Declare a variable. So why we are having this variable is, so whenever the account is deactivated, let's say if you check the checkbox like delete contacts, then that account ID should be sent to the flows. Then based on that flow, we need to get the records and delete the records, right? Let's use this first. We need to get the records, right? Account ID will be sent from the process builder. Now to get the records, like get contacts. Give the API name here. Filter criteria. So what will be the filter criteria to fetch the records? Here conditions are met, account ID equals to whatever the variable where account ID means, it will get from the process builder, from process builder to here. Simply no sorted, only the first field, how many records to store, all the records which have in this one. So if you want to have all the fields, then you can add what are the fields should be added here. Okay, means if you are using this list in another screen, then you can use this one. Otherwise, it's not required. If you want to delete the record, then it is not required. Only ID is enough for deleting. Now let's see this. So once you get the record, simply you need to delete the records, right? So here so use specifying the IDs to or specify the conditions in the record variable. Let's say here contact from this one. So whatever the records get from these contacts means resulted of these contacts should be deleted. Done. Okay. Now save this like delete Activate, it will not be available in the process builder. Now simply go to process builder. Create a process builder an account. Now here add the account object. Record is created, updated. Then check condition. So here whenever the delete contacts is true, and then whenever it is changed to true, right? Need to call this action flow. Call so when you give like this, it will ask for the input variable. Means you have to pass this account ID to that, right? Then only that records will be queried and will be deleted. This is the input variable. You have to give this. Here the field reference of this field. This is example for calling the flows through the process. Okay. So this is one. Now just go there. Here under one any account. Now here this is the contact in this account. Now just do that delete activation variables. Okay. Check there is record has been deleted because the flow has deleted the record. This is how you have to call the flow from the process builder. Okay. Any questions on this? It's very simple. Just do the same. You don't need to worry about much. Okay. So if the requirement comes, then you have to learn more in the flow. No one will ask you about the flows. Then they'll ask what is the flow, how can you call the flow. So then you should have some variables, input variables, output variables. Okay. So when you declare a variable as input variable inside the flow, that will be available in the process builder to pass a value. Okay, so that's about this thing. And another thing, you have chatter. Okay, so mostly first thing what you need to do is chatter settings. You have to enable the chatters. Okay, edit and enable. Okay, first thing you just enable this. Once you enable all the things, it will be available for. So what is a chatter? Okay, chatter is nothing but the way the chatter. This is chatter cloud is also there. Means mostly for interactions. Okay, simple. I will say that if you go to your home page, when you log in, it will land on the home page mostly, right? then it shows that someone posts something for you. You have to read that and then you can comment there. Okay, this is what you have to do under this. Okay, so here edit, delete, you can do this like this. Okay, now let's see, once you enable that, what you need to do is very simple thing. Feed tracking is there. What is a feed tracking? Feed tracking means someone has changed some value. There is history tracking, right? History tracking will say that there is the last value, I mean this is the previous value, this is the new value, and it shows like that. Okay, the same way in the service cloud you can have feed tracking, means mostly for the charter feed tracking everything will be there. So let's see how it works. Okay, once you enable the charter, what you can do is feed tracking will be there. No one will explain about this feed tracking, but just if you want to enable something feed on any object, let's say for example our student object, enable feed tracking, then select some fields. Okay, now save this. You have to enable the feed tracking. If you enable charter settings, then only it will be enabled, otherwise it won't. Okay, so once you enable that, let's say you have enabled for student, now what you need to do is you need to create a page layout with feed based layout. I have already created one. Let's see how. Here, feed based layout. Okay, so that means when you are clicking new page layout, here the checkbox will be there, feed based layout. If you check that, then it will be available in the console applications. Feed based layout means the feed tracking can be enabled on that one. Okay, now after that what happens is, so what are the fields can be tracked? Let's say if you have 3 or 4 fields tracked, then that will be displayed in the history tracking, right? That how can you do this? That's like compact layout. Compact layout means what should be displayed. I will show that, don't worry about that. Okay, so once you enable that, compact assignment should be done for everyone, system, for any system admin, everyone. This compact layout, once you create, you can assign it. Only one compact layout can be assigned. Okay, there will be no multiple compact layouts. Okay, if you create also, you can have only one compact layout assigned for your each object. Okay, so now just go to the switch to Lightning Experience. Go to student record. Here, if you see that, edit page. Have to add the charter feed. Where you can add a top. Once you save the page, this is lightning page, lightning app builder. It says that. Okay, here it is there. Okay, so while explaining lightning, I will help you to understand this. But for now, let's see. So once you do this, you have to activate it. Okay, org default, close. Then this, okay, just come back. parenthesis activity charter. Okay, it's called charter feed. Now let's say as we have already tracked this department, save it. Go to that specific object, open any. Otherwise, see this. So this is changed, updated this record, accounts to science. Okay, and then if you change something, department to commerce, and what else we have enabled, student name, email, paid fee, discount. Let's say if I update the discount also, shows that this user updated this record, and department science to commerce, discount blank value to 20. This like as a history tracking, but it's called feed tracking, and it shows to the users also. So then what is the difference between these two? Means history tracking and feed tracking. In the heat track, so this tracking here you can comment and like, but in history tracking there will be no options for liking and comment. Okay, this is called chatter. Mostly this we used to have this in the service cloud. In service cloud means someone you have given some solutions or something, you will give your comments there. Okay, so that is chatter. And now how can you call the chatter through the process builder? Let me just for your reference just using this, let's call add another action here, post to chatter. Okay, user or charter group. You can create charter group as well as public group. Means both are same, but in charter group you can add other users who are sales service users. Then you can post to that users like Facebook group or WhatsApp group like that. Okay. User. Let's say for any user, search for user or something. If you want to send message to some user, you can search for user. Or if you want to have select from user record, means whoever creates the record or update the record, owner or creator. For now, let's what I'm trying to do is let's use the specific user Salesforce training. Here, hi, this is post from process. You can have your own message, and you can have some merge fields also like something. Just save it, activate it. Here, go to your any of the first because cross builder will run whenever you check the checkbox, right? shows like this. Test account, here detail page. In this detail page there is a checkbox. Delete, save. Okay, so the reason is, as we are calling the flow, and flows is getting failed because there are no contents, right? So what we have to do is, in flow you have to give condition. Again, the condition is if size is greater than 0, then only I delete the records, right? For now, let me delete this action from here. Delete the contacts, remove this, activate, save it, try to save the record now. Done. Okay, now let's see, go to this users page. Here you will get the notifications. Okay, just go to this home page. Here, home. Edit this page. Add chatter feeding here. Means whoever is posted to me, and if there are any filters also, you can add some filters, but here there is no filter is required. Simply save, activate. Assign as or default, save. And go to the home page here. Most recent, latest post. Okay, so let's go to classic version. I'll help you to understand this lightning later. Okay, say this. Hi, this is post from process builder and the account name. Okay, same you can do in the lightning also. So here if I ask you to do something, then you will get confused. Okay, so later we will do that. Chatter feed, just simply here edit this. See this. Okay, this is how it gets the chatter and others. Okay, this is how you have to call the chatter post from process builder. Okay, and others. So this simply that contacts are deleted, the post, something like this. You can post that. And there is another thing called, what is this? Close duplicate rows. Then chatter we have seen multi currencies. How to enable multi currencies? In currency, go to setup. So here, activate multiple currencies. Here, refresh and try to create any record. Opportunities. Here. So here the option will be given. Okay. So now let's add currencies, multiple currencies. Manage currencies. And here add new currency. Say conversion rate is required, something 70 or something. Say only. Then let's say if you want to have anything else. Okay, now when you try to create new record, it will give the option to you for selecting the multiple currencies. Here, what should be? Refresh this first. Okay, these currencies will be enabled. That's how you have to enable the multi currencies. Okay, so that's about enabling the currencies. Another we have sales cloud, service cloud. Almost time up, we'll explain tomorrow. Okay.